Steph Curry is off the board. You're not allowed to pick Steph Curry. Everybody I go around and say, pick somebody in the three-point shootout historically. We're all going to pick Steph. Agreed?
Yeah.
Okay. Steph's off the board. John, who would you take in a three-point shootout all time?
I'm glad I went first. I'm going to take Sabrina Ionescu.
I knew what I was going to say.
Man. Give me Sabrina, man. She proved to me last year. When I saw her just take, I was like, damn, she almost got Steph last year.
Squad up. Cinco Squad, episode 149, back in the building. We have a new Super Bowl champ. Someone has an old hat that I'm guessing they'll be retiring soon. Word on the street is American Express. They keep trying to flag John because he's trying to buy the entire Fanatics fan page. What's going on,
what the
John?
fuck, Fanatics? Come on now. I try to buy this gear at the end of the night. Man, that's some bullshit. I tried 4 different times. All denial. Did not want my money. But you know what?
I heard.
You know who cannot deny the Philadelphia Eagles is the Kansas City Chiefs, motherfucker. Patrick, Michael, Jordan, motherfucking Mahomes on his back most of the game. Oh, it was beautiful. It was amazing. It was great. I was loving every second of it. Cooper DeJean, rookie corner, taking it back to the house, taking the great one back to the house.
That would be our guy, Cooper. Other 3.
Yeah.
Who are very big
advocates. Go!
Was good.
I took the over-under on 162 claps during the game. I think he only clapped like maybe 30 times. So I was surprised. Well done, John.
That's a blowout.
Dominance doesn't need clapping.
Yeah, it was a mile compared to
dominated
what he
them motherfuckers.
Yeah, if it had been the game we thought it was going to be, it was mild compared to that. Mike, it's been 3 days, 4 days, 4 days since the game. Now we have a little bit of distance. What are your takeaway, or just a quick takeaway? What's something quick that's been a takeaway yours?
Well, the Eagles definitely earned the win and deserve to be Super Bowl champions. They proved they're the best team in football this year. And I always said, until they gave me reason to doubt, I would never doubt the Chiefs. And they gave me reason to doubt in that game because they got absolutely destroyed by the Eagles. It's one of those games that was the deficit was actually worse than it looked like because of the 2 essentially garbage time touchdowns the Chiefs got late. It was a much bigger ass kicking than that. And you know what? Credit to the Philadelphia Eagles. And congratulations, Saquon Barkley. I'm actually happy for you that you went and got a championship because clearly you're not going to get it with these guys.
Jay, what about you? Any quick takeaways you got?
Yeah, I'm just tired of the bullshit of why these shows have to spin it off to who's to blame more, Andy Reid or Patrick Mahomes. Nobody's to blame. You got dominated by a defense that you had no answers for. Coach, quarterback, offensive coordinator, it doesn't matter. Nobody had an answer for them. And Spags got totally outcoached too. The Eagles came in there with that chip on their shoulder that we're not going to lose to you guys. We're not going to be the team that's remembered as the one that went down for the Triple Crown. And they stood their ground. And they were, I mean, that team, I might put them up against any team in the history of the Super Bowls based on if we just go by how you played in a Super Bowl. I might say I'm putting that team up against any team to see if they can stack and win that game based on their game plan and how they perform.
We'll just go show the mainstream media that, you know, it's a lot of this and not a lot of knowledge. We got Dan Orlovsky, Nick Wright all doing this. Jalen Hurts can't throw the ball. Nick Sirianni can't coach the big game. Well, all those guys have done is win in the last 4 years. That's all they've done is win and go to playoffs and go to the conference championship and 2 Super Bowls. So you can keep running your mouth, Dan, but just because you couldn't get to be a starting quarterback or learn how not to run out of bounds from the back of the end zone and not know where the field is, doesn't mean you have to criticize other players. It's just that's all they want to do is this. And talk.
So word on the street is Dan will be taking a hiatus or possibly let go from ESPN. So he may not.
Hey, let's remember the only team to beat the Eagles. The only teams to beat the Eagles in the last 4 years in the playoffs are the Bucks and the Chiefs.
What do you think? Why do you think I didn't want to play the Bucks? I literally told you that. I literally said this. I know a lot of people talk shit. I mean, like that's the one arch nemesis of the Eagles is the Buccaneers for some godforsaken reason since 2002. That has been the Eagles. If you go back and look, I mean, we have not have a good record against the Bucks. They played that dominant 0-2 team. I thought we were gonna roll through Tampa. Nope. Rich Gannon and all them boys came through and dominated the Eagles in Philly. And honestly, it's nice to see the fruition of all the hard work come together. All like the bullshit be put aside. Oh, AJ Brown hates Jalen Hurts. Okay, so their lockers are almost next to each other in the locker room. Nick Sirianni has a bad repertoire rapport with the guys. When the guys all say every single year, we'll go to war for this guy. So it's just a lot of noise in the media, a lot of bullshit. Greenberg has nothing else better to do nowadays. It's just, it's really trash that Cinco Squad isn't the main show for right before Pat McAfee, because it's absolutely bullshit. Because you know what, First Take can't even do their own homework. They have to go to our show to take our topics most of the time, because the next morning they see our topics on there. So, at the end of the day, we should be on the every single day ESPN. Mm-hmm. So if you're watching this, come on, let's go.
And you are.
Put some real analysts out there. That's why Pat McAfee is the only person I watched in the last 2 weeks for Super Bowl, is because he actually talks about something else other than the game and storylines and bullshit. And I love how he just made Anti-Schmidt. With Ty Schmidt, the Nick Tyrani, big dipshit. That shit was hilarious. I mean, he does other things. So to the media people out there, you can talk about other things other than the Dallas Cowboys. Nick Sirianni being a trash coach, Luka Doncic being the God and Savior with the Lakers, and everything.
Hey! We can never talk too much about our Lord and Savior, Mr. Luka Doncic.
Here we go.
But no, so a lot of times, we talk about we're more creative, so we don't take the typical spin. Everybody always take the typical spin. What most people are going to talk about is we talk about the draft coming up, we talk about the Super Bowl, but somebody has to be at the bottom next year. Yeah, there's going to be a couple big prizes. So, Mike, I know one of these teams, good chance, might be yours based on the odds. And real quick, I'll read you the odds. They have right now the Giants, the Titans, the Browns, and the Saints are all somewhere between plus 20,000 to plus 15,000 to win the Super Bowl. So those are what they're clocking as the least likely team. Some people will say it's your Giants. Mike, are they correct? Are your Giants the least likely team to win the Super Bowl next year?
Well, I feel like, at least for me, picking the Giants is a little too easy because, I've been on record before the Super Bowl, after the Super Bowl, all that about my feelings on how Joe Shane should not be the GM anymore and how Brian Daboll probably shouldn't be the coach anymore and all that kind of thing. So I'm not going to retread that. I had it's not a sleeper team because I do think that they're expected to be pretty bad, but I picked the Las Vegas Raiders. I think the Las Vegas Raiders are the least likely team in my mind to win the Super Bowl next year, simply because it's kind of the opposite way I have felt about trust in the Chiefs. And I feel like the Raiders, no matter what they do, no matter what decisions they make, it's always going to be the wrong one. They're always going to do something to mess it up. And right now, from what I'm hearing about what the Raiders may do, it's going to be bringing in, which the Giants might also do, but it's going to be bringing in a veteran quarterback that is not going to help them. Apparently, they're between Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. I think it's going to be Aaron Rodgers. I've go on record as saying I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be a Raider next year. And it's going to be a distract. If that's the case, which I'm thinking it is, it's just going to be a distraction like it was with the Jets. It's not going to make any real difference. They don't seem to be able to get out of their own way as far as always bringing in the media circus. I get it, it's Vegas, and I get you're the Raiders, but still, it just always seems to be something gets in their way. So I can't trust that they're going to come anywhere close to a Super Bowl because of that.
I don't think it's going to end up being Rodgers, partly because everybody's saying Brady's getting more and more influence up there in Vegas, and I just can't see Brady making that call to Rodgers like, hey, I want you to come in and be my quarterback. Absolutely. Just that's solely why I don't think it's that. Either way, they are a shit show. So I do agree there will be a shit show. Personally, I live in Cleveland. People are going to get pissed when I say this, but the Browns, they're going to be the worst team in football next year. It's simple with that. It doesn't even matter what they draft. The Browns, some people say they're taking the Browns when they go to the Super Bowl, when they go to the bathroom. I've heard that term around here a few times. And again, the Browns are going to be going back to the Super Bowl. aka the toilet bowl. When you look at Nick Chubb, he's over the hill now. Nick Chubb's seen his better days behind him.
He's chubby.
Myles Garrett desperately wants out. We recently had a report saying Myles Garrett said he would even restructure or take a pay cut to get out because he's just so desperate to get the hell out. And the thing is, Myles Garrett likes living in Cleveland. He just doesn't want to pay for the Browns. I understand. I live in Cleveland. I wouldn't want to pay for the Browns. I don't root for the Browns. I can't do that. So you look at that. You have one of the worst contracts in sports right now. You have one of the worst owners in sports. And yes, I said it. I'll go back, flashback, about a year ago. We're doing our final whistle videos. And I said, Haz is one of the worst owners. All the Browns comments, fans jump in. You got to be kidding me. I wouldn't believe you said it. And I'm looking at y'all like, oh, y'all really think this dude's a good owner? Y'all fucking lost your mind. So you got that. Your quarterback, like I said, that's a terrible situation. You'll probably be either starting a rookie or some washed vet like Kirk Cousins or Aaron Rodgers or something next year. So the Browns are going to be in an awful position. I fully expect them to be bad. And Arch Manning, welcome to Cleveland. Jay.
Yeah, pretty much. Next year, yeah. That's shitty. Maybe Arch will go back he'll just go back and play for Texas.
Well, either that or they do the Eli and they tell him we're not going here. One of the two. They come and tell us
and then he gets
it's happened before.
And he gets traded to the Giants.
Hey, you get drafted to the Browns. You know what? I'm good. I'll just go play in the NFL.
Actually, NIL is pretty good.
I'll go to the Canadian League.
Jay, who do you think is going to be the worst team next year?
Worst team in football next year is going to be the New York Jets. And here's why. When you hear such a quarterback carousel discussion happening and their only option seems to be right now Tyrod Taylor is the potential starter as a feasible option as a starter. No knock on Tyrod's game. Tyrod can't stay on the field. Okay, so now what? Okay, you're going to bring Jackson Dart and start Jackson Dart in what, game number 3 or 4 when he goes down? Have the kid running around like a chicken with his head cut off. Poor kid's going to get sacked probably like 4 times, 5 times a game in his first couple starts. All his confidence is done. There's nothing. The team's imploding on itself again. Here we go again, coaching carousel. Let's bring in another friggin' interim coach. The Jets organization is in total scrambles right now. For whatever reason, they're hiding behind Aaron Rodgers for as long as they can until that whole fucking shit show implodes. And I just don't see the Jets improving at all. And what happened to that defense? I mean, nobody's saying all of a sudden how a bunch of guys that should be performing at a pretty high level, which they did the year before, helping to keep this team around, which was the whole idea. Rodgers shouldn't have to score more than 20 points, for most of the season. They should be able to scrape by a couple wins and at least compete to get in the playoffs. We saw this team get worse and worse and worse. And I don't know the solution for them right now to get better at quarterback because the offensive line isn't improving anytime soon either. So I just don't think this team is being managed well. I know that Mikey talks a lot about how bad the Giants have it. The Jets have it just as bad. And look, we know what the deal is with New York football. Those two franchises combined have lost the most games in the last 6 or 7 years by miles. It's not even close. It's by miles. And so we expect losing, unfortunately, more from the Jets than we do the Giants because the Giants have had a little more recent playoff success or at least got to the playoffs than the Jets. So hate to talk, mean green, whatever the hell you guys are going to be friggin' shit green next year because you will find yourself possibly winning 3 games. And maybe Arch decides I don't want to go to the Jets. And then he skips down and goes to the Giants instead.
John, real quick, before you answer that question, I'm going to assume you're expecting your Eagles to go back-to-back, right?
Of course.
Who's playing your Eagles in the Super Bowl next year?
Love that question.
I think it's Kansas City again. As much as people, because I didn't really get to break it down, as much as people want to shit on the Chiefs and shit on them, I mean, you can shit on them all they want, but I don't know many teams that have gone back to the Super Bowl, right? 3 years in a row. I mean, it's kind of like hockey. We talk about it. It wears on you at the end of the day. And Trey thought damn, Trey, you thought my point was that boring? No, I was just messing with you. But no, I think it's the Chiefs. Boring. So when you're down here next year, we'll watch the Chiefs and the Eagles again. But I don't doubt Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback. He's such a humble guy. He's such a really hard worker, and I know this is going to motivate him just like it did Brady when he lost the Super Bowls and to get back there. And Andy Reid's smart coach. Spags is smart. They just got outplayed. I mean, the one positive for the Chiefs is they held Saquon to 60 yards.
56 yards or something.
Yeah, somewhere around there. 56 to 60 yards rushing, right? On 25 carries, which is less than probably a couple yards to carry, which is not his forte. They said, Jalen Hurts go beat us, and he did. So I see the Chiefs coming in and playing again for another Super Bowl title.
Okay, so that being said, on the opposite end, who's going to be the worst? Who's going to be the furthest from the Super Bowl, I guess we should say.
Oh, it's easily the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, we were talking about today, when you look at the Dallas Cowboys, and that's not just a shit on them. I mean, yes, it is. I'm sorry.
Yes,
but Dak Prescott, you have no room to talk about the Eagles at all. Congratulations if you beat them in the regular season. You don't get an award for that. You don't get a trophy at the end of the season saying you're the champs for beating the Super Bowl champs. So calm down with your $89 million. That's the reason why they're the furthest, is they have $89 million to pay to Dak next year. 89. I don't know what the cap is, but if Aaron Rodgers is going to be, or Deshaun Jackson's is going to be, a fourth of the cap space, I can't imagine what Dak's is going to be. They can't go get anybody. I think they're in the negative right now. They're going to have to restructure so many deals. And I don't think they're going to be able to do it, especially with CeeDee Lamb coming in, the new coach coming in, what have you. So I think they're just in shambles. I think Mike is going to ask for a trade halfway through the year, and it's just going to be a all-out, shit fest in Arlington there, as people don't want to claim Dallas as their hometown.
Now, one thing where I got a little confused, John, is you were comparing the Chiefs. So you're saying, well, these, the Lightning made deep runs for so long, rate of attrition. That's it's not that they lack the talent. It's just that time caught up with them and injuries might catch up with them. So I'm a little confused why you said that point, but you also said you think the Chiefs are going to go back. You don't think 4 Super Bowls in 5 years finally catching up to them?
I think when you get beat as bad as you did, it motivates you. It motivates you to kind of get healthy and stay healthy throughout the season, to kind of get yourself some more weapons. I mean, they were very injured all year, injured riddled. I mean, they started getting chemistry, Pat did, with his receiving core towards the end of the year. But I think a full year with them, it's going to be tough. I mean, that receiving core is going to be very good. I think they re-signed Hopkins. I think they got Hollywood Brown coming back next year. They got Worthy coming back. They got the one guy that's
Rice.
Reed, I think his name is Reed.
Rice.
Mm-hmm.
Rice
back. I mean,
that's their one.
Then they got Pacheco and Kareem Hunt back as running backs. I mean, the offense is there, right? The offensive line is going to be there. I think it's just going to be a healthier roster. And when you get embarrassed like that in the biggest stage, and your name is Patrick Mahomes, who is the greatest quarterback of all time, he has that it factor, kind of like Kobe did, kind of like Tom did, LeBron, Michael. All those guys have that little you ain't gonna embarrass me. I'm not gonna get embarrassed like that. So, do the rate of attrition happen? Yes, but I think he's gonna go in there and be like, everyone's here on April 1. We're going. Everyone's at OTAs. Everyone's here. The big question mark is Travis Kelce. Will he come back? So I don't think he'll want his last game to be an embarrassment, but we'll see.
Which I think he will. You were just talking about Dak Prescott. We were talking about quarterbacks that are losers. And I was having a conversation with Mike, and he said he had something on his mind about some quarterback who was kind of a career loser. No offense.
Tall loser.
Yeah, we talk about quarterbacks that are losers. You would think that Mr. Brock Osweiler was a loser, especially given the contract he was given over the course of his career. He's kind of we talk about sometimes these one-hit wonders in sports, and Brock Osweiler, I think, could definitely be classified as a one-hit wonder. But it just so happens that Brock Osweiler at the end of his career did have success in some regard. So if you go back at Osweiler's career, he played for 3 different teams, right? Which means he had to make his first start for each of those teams. Well, it just so happens that Brock Osweiler ended up being 3-0 in his first starts with each team. Not only that, all of those games, every game he started for the first time on each team was against the Chicago Bears. So he beat the Bears 3 times in 3 first-time starts. Now, we talk about his mediocre numbers. He did finish his career with mediocre numbers, but He threw for 861 yards and 7 touchdowns across those 3 games. So when it came down to it, if you put Brock Osweiler up against the Bears, all of a sudden he was Joe Montana. Oh, 100%. Yeah, if you were an NFC North team that signed Brock Osweiler, you may have won the division.
Shout out to Brock Osweiler. Now we're moving on to this All-Star time. NHL has a new All-Star format. The NBA has a new All-Star. Sorry, Brock, you'll never be an All-Star. But a lot of people are kind of critical of the NBA's All-Star. I mean, I've heard kind of up and down NHL All-Star. So, fellas, we have to talk about how do we actually feel about the new formats. Now, the NBA's All-Star format this year, they're going to do a round-robin tournament. It'll all be held on the same night. It's going to be 4 teams. There'll be 3 All-Star teams of All-Stars, and then there'll be 1 team that will be a team mixed up between the G League and the Rising Stars team. So the 4 teams, 2 are going to play each other. The winning 2 teams will play each other with a target score, winning team being the All-Star champion, essentially. And they'll be split up into teams of 8. On the NHL side, John, you are an NHL expert. What is the NHL doing this year for All-Star?
So the NHL, because they have so many European-type players, so many players from different countries, they decided to do a 4 nations face-off. And what that will entail is Team USA, Team Canada, Team Sweden, and Team Finland. It's unfortunate that we don't have a Team Russia, because that would be a pretty cool team, or a Czech team. That would be a sweet team as well. But it's an 8-day tournament style in a way. So they're going to play round-robin, everyone plays each other once, and then the championship game is going to be on February 20th. It's a good layoff time for a lot of teams, so it's going to be a pretty solid 8 days if you're not playing in those games.
Jay, how are you feeling about these All-Star formats? You think they'll be successful? Not really interested? Did these pique your brain? Either side, the NBA or the NHL All-Star?
NHL is interesting because when you extend a tournament like that, you kind of maybe captivate the audience to want to keep following it a bit. So you keep following up on what's leading up to the next game. The thing about the NBA that might be a little bit risky here is you have 3 formatted games. And if the first one is a snooze fest, nobody's going to give a shit about game 2 and then the championship game. So, pending on how these teams decide to come out, if it's once again like shoot from half court, out of the 25 shots, you take 23 or threes, and the quality of the first game is really down. I think they're taking a big risk here, but they had to take a big risk. I mean, last year was a joke. What was the final score in that game? 282 to 240. I mean, it almost seemed like at some point here, something has to give, but it didn't. And it's interesting. What was more interesting to me is the style of how the Kenny and Shaq and Charles drafted. Shaq went for like the gold medalist veteran squad. Charles kind of went for these sort of international flavor guys, and Kenny was like, give me all the young guns, right? Like, I'll prove you wrong with these young guns, and I'll coach them up to play with the kind of energy you should play within an all-star game. So it's interesting. The dynamics of all the teams are so different. That's what I'm most intrigued to see, who's going to actually give effort. But I think it's a big risk the NBA had to take.
Mike, what about you?
So as far as the NBA goes, call me kind of a traditionalist when it comes to that. I would really rather they either do just straight up East versus West again, or do North America versus World. I think that's also a fun thing, especially when you have that, like Jay said, that international flavor when it comes to the league that continues to increase as you start bringing in more and more international players at a high profile. But these round robin tournament things, I agree. It's just, if the beginning of it doesn't grab the audience, then there's not going to be anything that follows it that's going to be able to really get them back. And you're going to see the viewership down, and you're going to change the format again. And you'll have essentially wasted a year as far as finding that whatever form of perfect format you're looking for. As far as the NHL goes, I think the concept is good. To create like a little mini Olympics in a way. The one kind of hole that I see with it is I would really love to have like a Russian team and a Czech team and a Slovakian team and things like that, to be able to showcase those really great NHL players that aren't from any of these 4 countries. as much as we enjoy, Canada versus the U.S. is always kind of a North American rivalry, and then we have Sweden and Finland in the second game, and that's always I had to get it in there. That's always kind of a regional rivalry as well. So I get what they're doing. It's just it would be nice if we're creating this mini week-long Olympic game type thing for the NHL All-Stars to be able to have all of them.
The problem
John,
is,
question.
the problem is
for you really quick.
I was about to say something about the Russia. The only reason why they can't have Russia is Russia can't compete in any type of Olympic or any type of Russian name team because they're still on the ban.
I don't think the NHL has them banned though. It's the international committee, which has nothing to do with it though.
But I think it has a lot to do with just representing Russia. The name.
Yeah. No. The NHL is following suit, but they don't have to.
This is a question for clarity. That is what I'm trying. I wasn't asking you a question, but I'm asking this as an outside looking at NHL person. So how were these teams specifically selected when, so the NBA, when they split them up, it was East, West, and then they basically put them in the pool. Is it that there is no all-stars per se? They're just this country, this country, this country? Is that how this is? So there is no you were selected to this based off of you being an all-star. It's just the best of that country?
Yeah, so there's no I don't know how you have a skills challenge for the NBA. There's no skills challenge or anything for the NHL this year. There's no location that they're playing.
No, I don't mean. I think I may have said it. When I say that, is were there any type of voting, or is it like how was the process selected? Who's on which one of the teams or each country's team?
I'm not 100% sure how the voting went. I think it went more or less potentially fan and potentially coaching. I think coaches and team they had a committee for each organization. So they had a Team USA organization. Mike might know more about the legit.
So it was similar. So it's kind of similar to the Olympics where a committee is picked for that country. Okay.
Yeah, no. As far as I know,
you're gonna have Sid and Connor McDavid representing as captain and assistant captain for Team Canada and stuff like that. So it was kind of like in that
right.
Style.
But so there could be a guy who, if there's a country that just has a lot of talent, he doesn't make it because he's in a loaded country, whereas another guy may not be as good, or maybe his country isn't as good, so he gets to make it because, of course, Canadian team is going to be stacked, but maybe the Sweden team isn't as stacked. So now the 45th best players in the All-Star or this tournament. Okay, that's what I'm asking for clarity.
Yeah. Plus, they picked some younger guys as well on each team, I think, to showcase the future of the countries and things like that. But yeah, as far as I know, there wasn't a fan vote. It was just like John said, it was kind of like the international committees type of style where they just picked their best guys or the guys they wanted on the team from that particular country.
So here's the actual. I just looked it up real quick. It's each team has 23 players, 20 skaters, 3 goalies. The international governing bodies, like you said, of the respective countries chose the players, and the players had to have a 2024 to 25 NHL contract and be on an NHL roster as of December 2nd of last year.
So to that point, it being international, that's why Russia wasn't involved.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because they're still
okay. So they couldn't. That's why I was asking you. That's why I was trying to ask that question because I figured that question would answer your Russia question. But John, how are you feeling about the NBA, NHL with these new formats? Do you think they'll be a hit? Probably pass on this. How are you feeling about those?
I feel like you're never gonna have a happy person no matter what. So I mean, look, the NBA's trying. Adam Silver, I give him a 1,000% credit. I've always liked him. I said he's one of the best commissioners of sports because he basically tries new things, attempts, fails sometimes succeeds. But he's attempting. He's attempting to try to do something to grab more attention. To Jamie's point, to watch a 280 to 240 win, that's not it's not fun to watch. I'm never gonna watch it, right? But having some competitive, everyone talks about, oh yeah, they're probably gonna just, but you gotta understand if there's a end score, if you've ever played pickup basketball, you have this little adrenaline. You may go out there I don't give a shit and everything, but all of a sudden your team gets down 6-0 real quick, and you're like, no, I'm not getting blown out. I don't care what competitor you are, you're gonna pick it up a little bit. you're not going to get blown out on a big stage where TV cameras are all over the place. I don't care who you are. So, as far as NHL, I mean, I disagree with Mike 100% on all this. I think this is a genius by Gary Bettman to actually, and I'm actually giving him credit because this was actually perfect. Because one thing about NHL, one thing about hockey that a lot of people don't realize is a lot of people watch these World Juniors, watch these USA. I watch it all the time. I'll be sitting in my room watching World Juniors play, 18U teams play, and they love the pride of their country, no matter what. Even if it's 18 under World Juniors team to sled hockey or whatever, people they love to represent their country and love to wear that, whether it's red and white, and blue, or blue and yellow, whatever it might be. They love to wear that name on their chest because a lot of times, a lot of the NHL is from a different country, so they love going back. There's always this thing that Mike always has this in his head that, guys going back to the KHL. Why do you think? Because they love being in their country. I mean, we talk about Jokic and him loving Serbia. If Serbia had a professional basketball league that paid him as much as he did in the NBA, he probably wouldn't have left. He'd probably still be there. So we talk about
they pay him a third of his salary in Israel, bro.
And I think with
I don't think it would take that much.
I think a third. I think what we have with the NHL is more pride in that aspect, where you're going to see a lot more viewership of hockey listeners. You may not get it outside viewership in a sense because the NHL is just not going to pull that. They're going to dedicate what is prideful. I mean, they were talking about Sid and Connor playing together. They're never going to play together on the same line again, probably. So seeing the two greatest hockey players in the league at one point in their careers playing on the same line is absolutely sick. Seeing Austin Matthews play with, I don't even know who's on Team USA. I'm a Sidney Crosby fan, but I'm a Team USA. So that's another thing too. So you have these players that you're favorite of, but they're playing on your rival team. So do you go USA? Do you go Sweden? Do you go? You think about this. I mean, so I really like the format with what they did with this NHL. I think it's going to be for time to come that more countries are going to be added, but it is only a week, so you can only really have 4 teams because if it's an all-star break, you can't have this be 3 weeks long and then all of a sudden go back to the regular season. You know what I mean? So I liked what they did. The NBA, they're trying. I think it's worth it. I mean, get the G League. We talk about this, and I know this is a long little rant, but we talked about this this past weekend when you were here, Trey, and talking about how the G League, how a lot of guys aren't going to the league from college. Well, this will incentivize guys more to go to from college to the NBA ranks, because if you have a chance on the biggest stage to go play against LeBron or play against Luka, play against Jason Tatum in the All-Star game and show your shit. Look at Mac McClung. It made him a fucking superstar going to win the dunk contest 2 years in a row. I mean, granted, obviously that's all he can do right now. But you think about these guys who are coming out. It's like, damn, this guy just scored 18 in this game against LeBron. He squared up with him in that aspect. And we didn't expect this guy in the G League to actually have this type of game. But now that puts him on the big stage. Now puts it more into contract-wise. So you think about, we talk about how the NBA is so saturated with young players, and these college kids are having trouble getting spots. This will give them an opportunity to be like, maybe this guy will be a 6-man.
And I guess for me, the hockey part of this, it's cool because it's international, and maybe you do get a different sense of pride because of that. So this is kind of almost, based on what y'all described, it's almost like we're putting the World Baseball Classic into their All-Star Weekend in a way. And I was like, okay, so that's kind of different. So that's kind of cool. The only thing I don't like about necessarily, and why I asked about the format, was because I do like something of making it really unique to say this guy was a 6-time All-Star, all these type of things. You kind of take that out once you take that aspect. So now I have a hard thing sometimes, and I know maybe it's being stubborn with history, where I like to be able to say, okay, look, O.J. Simpson was playing with 14 games. Eric Dickerson was playing 14 games. Oh, Saquon Barkley's breaking the record. Well, he has more games. I mean, same thing comes when we look at All-Stars, All-NBA. When we start moving the bar too much, sometimes it's harder to have these cross-air history things. And that would, again, go the same thing in the NBA or any of these things. So that's the one part I don't like of it, is because you may not nobody's ever going to catch Wayne Gretzky, right? But what if we get to the point where we could say, well, this guy now has as many All-Star appearances as Mario Lemieux, but now we don't get that if you have these type of effects. So that part I don't necessarily like, but I do like that. I think it'd be competitive because they have a different sense of pride for their country. In the NBA, to be honest with you, I'm not a person who watches the All-Star games, bitches. I don't give a fuck if they put 500 points. It's a fucking exhibition. Everybody wants to sit here and act like it's supposed to be Game 7. You know, you get Game 7. I watch the NBA most weeks during the season, at least 5 nights out of 7, and I watch many competitive games. I pay for NBA League Pass. That's just me. If I want to watch a competitive game, I turn to League Pass. If I don't like it, I turn to the next game because there are plenty of competitive games. So they take one game, everybody decides they want to dunk and not be super competitive, and everybody's like, this is bullshit. I can't believe this. I don't see y'all playing about the Pro Bowl like that. Y'all just don't watch it. If you don't want to watch it, then don't watch it. I'm not even mad at Silver because he keeps trying different stuff, and the reason he keeps trying is because people keep complaining. The other thing I don't like is, okay, so now we're going to throw the G League team in there. The first thing everybody just talked about was, what if the first game sucks? Well, it probably will if you fucking have Steph and LeBron versus some dude in the G League and fucking Alexander Starr and with fucking Zach Reese say going against fucking LeBron and Steph. Yeah, it's going to probably be ugly. So, again, we're setting this up. Now, they will be more competitive. You know why? Because LeBron's going to be like, I'm not about to get dunked on by some G League dude. And then they're going to fuck around the house. These dudes fucking 37-2 or some shit. And then everybody's going to bitch about that. So, there is no winning for the NBA with the All-Star, and that's just where we're at, I think.
You said there's a designated point like that it goes to, like kind of like the Elam ending in the basketball tournament. Do you know the number? Do you know the number, or is it kind of similar to?
No, I think it's like 45. I think it's the number. I think that sounds right.
Yeah, okay.
I would have to look it up. It is. It's not like the Kobe one where it was like add 24. It's just a flat out target, like you're in the backyard, first person to this. I think the number's 45 though.
Okay, I didn't know if it was like a timed game, like let's just say 3-minute quarters, and then all of a sudden they have an Elam ending where it's like, okay.
Yeah, you're saying like the last format of All-Star.
Yeah.
Jay, did you know what it was?
No, I don't know the points, but I got a quick one for you here. Just to, like I said, you like the history of it, like 20-time All-Star, actually 21-time All-Star, breaking the record. All hail King James. True or false? Wemby is the only player that can come close to matching that in his career.
False. Because I don't think Wemby. I don't think he'll play long enough to do it. That means you have to play at least a minimum of 21 years to even get that and be good all 21, not injured, like along the way. Man, LeBron was never hurt to not be in the All-Star game enough. Plus, he made it every year except for year one, so somebody would have to find a way to make it 22. I don't think it'll be Wemby. I'm not saying it won't happen. I just don't think Wemby's going to have, not wishing on him, big men don't have that type of fortunate luck in injuries. If it's going to be somebody, it'll be another wing that truthfully isn't in the NBA at this point. Probably some dude in the 8th grade. It's probably going to be the one that breaks it, who's currently an 8th grader. But then also, I'll say this too. With AAU culture, I don't know if a lot of these guys are going to stand up to play 21 because I think a lot of these guys are going to be burned out by year 13 because AAU, they out here playing every fucking day, at 14, at 6. So, yeah, I don't know if we'll really get that, But we were talking about basically greatness. And the three-point shootout is kind of taken over at this point for the NBA dunk contest. Really quick, this year's NBA three-point shootout, and everybody just go around table really quick, say who you got to pick or who you picking to win this year's shootout. We got Jalen Brunson, Darius Garland, Cade Cunningham, Tyler Hero, Buddy Hield, Cam Johnson, Dame Lillard, and Norman Powell. John, who you got?
3-point, Damian Lillard.
Jay.
Yeah, man. Dame has to join the greats and win 3 in a row. Give me Dame.
Mike.
Not so fast.
Uh-oh.
I think the continued success of Cade Cunningham is going to give him a surprise win here.
That'd be definitely a shocker. I'm going to go with Dame time. I got Hield to come second. The reason I don't necessarily think Cade, I don't know if it's released quick enough. It's not that I don't think you do. You have to. It's a combination of this, not jumping too high or release, and I don't know if his release is going to be. I can see a scenario where Cade is doing good and doesn't finish his rack, just looking at his release. But we'll see. That being said, we didn't get our guy Steph. Everybody, of course, wants Steph to be in the tournament because we want Steph to do it every year. Unfortunately, I thought he would do it because they're up.
Me too.
They're at home. So the whole thing last year was, we'll get Steph versus Clay.
Yeah.
And Clay, of course, doesn't do it. Steph doesn't do it. They're on the same team. If we were sitting here and Steph Curry is off the board. You're not allowed to pick Steph Curry. Everybody I go around and say, pick somebody in the 3-point shootout historically. We're all going to pick Steph. Agreed?
Yeah.
Okay. Steph's off the board. John, who would you take in a 3-point shootout all time?
I'm glad I went first. I'm going to take Sabrina Ionescu. She proved
I
to
knew
me
what I was
last
going to
year,
say.
man.
That.
Give me Sabrina, man. She proved to me last year. When I saw her just take, I was like, damn, she almost got Steph last year. And I was like, damn, okay. I was like, okay. I mean, that was the one thing I was looking forward to because I knew she was a cold shooter. Did she play at Oregon, right? She played at Oregon, right?
Oregon.
Yeah, so I remember her from Oregon days, and I remember her coming into the WNBA. I'm like, damn, she's a cold shooter. I think I would take her all day. I think she's just got a quick release, boom, and it's not about like if you're a solid 3-point shooter. The 3-point contest is how quick you can get the ball off and how many you can get in, obviously. But it's more about like what you just said. Some shooters take their time to boom, and then they're always jumping. She's just got a quick release, bang, bang, bang. I'm like, I'll take her all day.
That's a good pick.
Jay, who you got?
I throw that in.
Of course.
I got my man Craig Hodges.
Ooh.
Everybody don't know him because he was obviously under the big bright shining light of the man himself, Mr. Michael Jordan. But Craig Hodges did his thing early in the 90s when I was young enough at that time to really start to absorb what the All-Star game was. And to me, he was the guy. I heard about how great Bird was. I saw the highlights, but I saw Craig Hodges come in year after year and defend his crown for 3 years in a row and thought like, well, ain't nobody better at a 3-point shootout than Craig Hodges. The guy made 21 shots in a row at one point in the mid-'80s when he was still a Milwaukee Buck. I mean, the guy performed under pressure like no other. And the funny thing was, if you don't know basketball, you see a Bulls jersey automatically, you don't know the game, you're like, oh, that's Michael Jordan winning the 3-point contest. Not so fast, my friend. Mr. Craig Hodges, one of the underrated great 3-point shooters of any generation.
Under pressure.
I was wondering if somebody was going to go there because there's only been 2 people to win 3 NBA 3-point shootouts in the history of basketball. Craig Hodges, Larry Bird. I think I have a feeling of who Mike's going to go with. Mike, who you got?
Mika.
It's got to be Bird.
Iguodala. No.
Death Beam. Give me Iguodala. No. No, it's Larry Bird because, yes, all respect to Craig Hodges for winning the 3 that he won. But there's a special little thing when Larry Bird walks into the locker room, looks at everybody else, asks who's competing for second, then goes out and wins the 3-point contest without ever taking off his warm-up. The fact that the guy called his shot, made several of his shots, and won the thing without even showing a care. Like it didn't look like he wanted to win. He just won because, like, that's what I do. I'm Larry Bird. That's what I do. So I can't doubt that Larry Bird's going to walk in and, well, barring that Steph's not in there, and beat anybody he sets his mind to because that's just kind of what he did his whole career.
Have you seen the highlights of the game? He decided, I'm bored. I just want to shoot every shot with my left hand. And he played left hand and scored like 36 or something stupid.
Yes.
Fucking maniac, bro. What a maniac.
No, but that's why I got, when people were mad at Anthony Edwards last year, like, why is he going to take over with his left hand? Why? Bird didn't a fucking actual game and counted. Why can't Anthony Edwards damn All-Star exhibition?
Right.
Again, people just be mad about the All-Star in every aspect. Larry Bird.
But Anthony Edwards was like serious about like he wanted to learn how to shoot left-handed. So he's like, this is he literally did an interview. He was like, I want to learn how to shoot left-handed. So I'm an X factor. Like if you think about it, like how many times you see a guy he doesn't go to his left or shoot to his left, and you think about Anthony Edwards, he can shoot with both dominantly.
Dang, yeah, change the game. Why not let the guy go out there?
Why not be?
Yeah, why not let him go out there and do that? All right, for me, there's only one correct answer here. It's Mr. Ray Allen, Jesus Shuttlesworth. Who else is going to be? Before Steph, who had all the records for 3-point shooting? It was Ray Allen. Now, Ray, unfortunately, is going to get passed because all these guys are shooting an absorbent amount of 3-point attempts. So by the time we probably all pass away, Ray would be like 45th on the list because some center would be above him. But the fact of the matter is, imagine if Ray Allen was allowed to shoot with this free will that these guys have. If he had the type of spacing these guys have. The thing about it is, even with Ray, we talk about it, to win a 3-point shootout, you got to have a quick release. Ray had that. You have to be silky smooth. You can't jump off the ground too much because then it takes longer as far as getting the shot up. It also takes a lot from your legs when you have one of those long releases with a big jump. So you look at Ray, he checks all his boxes. You also have to not be phased under pressure. When it's tight, you look up, you say, "Oh shoot, I got three more." It's a tight thing. And who's better than Ray Allen? Who made one of the biggest shots in NBA history out the corner, literally past 8 o'clock, and it's his head. Just that quick. With the game on the lines. You're telling me now he can relax this in a 3-point shootout? Yeah, I'm taking Ray Allen all day. I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, it's got to be Ray for that.
All right, so quick time out.
I remember that clear as day. I was drunk as hell in a casino, and I was like,
That's beautiful.
I'm wearing my Heat gear. I'm the only one at the bar, and I'm like, oh my god, no one's around to hug.
What do I do?
What do I do with my hands? Give me another beer.
Quick roundtable. I'm gonna throw out 2 very honorable mention names.
Yeah,
Clay and Reggie Miller. Who you guys taking? Mano a mano, one against the other. Who you got? Clay or Reggie in a 3-point shootout?
Who do you want to go first?
I just start with Trey, you, Mikey.
Okay.
Clay, when he gets hot, he gets hot. And it's as simple as that.
I'll probably go Reggie. Reggie was just like cold. That's tough. That's really hard. That's really fucking hard because they're both. It's not like they were both dominant. I mean, they were both dominant in their careers. So, yeah, I'm gonna go Reggie. I like the way Reggie's game was.
Mikey?
Yeah, it's Reggie. The fact that he absolutely killed the Knicks in the 90s, no matter what.
13.
Like that was dude was cold. Like,
5.
Clay, no. Yeah, no. Yeah, he scored 8 points in like 5 seconds, 8 or 9 points in like 5 seconds. It was insane. So yeah, I think Reggie's just like when it's time to lock in, Reggie would be the one to do it.
I feel we have a sample size of what Clay did, but I think if Reggie was allowed to shoot 6 threes in a row in a quarter, I think we'd have had a lot more highlights of Reggie hitting 6 out of 6 in quarters throughout his career. So give me Mr. Miller.
Not mad at that. It's not the 90s no more. The dunk contest is not what it used to be. I mean, this year we have Mac McClung, Montez Bielese, Stephon Castle, and Andre Jackson Jr. I'm not even going to ask you picks. We all know who was going to win this dunk contest. No offense to everybody. Unless somebody's going off the board. Anybody go off the board? Then
Stephon Castle.
Okay. See how I don't know any of the names you just said.
I'll take the rook. Give me Castle.
Okay, somebody's going off the board. The main point here is, does anybody even give a damn on this panel about the dunk contest?
Not anymore.
No. I used
Not
to.
anymore.
No.
They stopped putting premier names in there. So, to be honest
okay, so
you.
the better question is for you all, because nobody cares about this, and this goes back to something I asked earlier or mentioned earlier in the show. Everybody got mad at the All-Star game and said, "Oh, there's run for free dunks." That was your dunk contest right there.
Right.
At a certain point, I could see this said it's the dunk contest. You want to see some great dunks and stars do it? Turn the All-Star game on because they're not going back to the dunk contest. Is there any way, Jay, did you think that they could somehow persuade these All-Stars to go back to the dunk contest?
The game has the game has changed to the point where like people are just so much more interested to see who could shoot the long ball. It's almost like it's so sad that ship has sailed because that was the highlight, at least when I was a teenager. All we spoke about going into All-Star game was hyping up the freaking slam dunk contest. That was it. Like, it's like, yo, who's it going to be? Who's going to be the freaking guy? And that was the guy of the weekend. Like, it don't even matter if Jordan or freaking Magic or Kobe was there playing the All-Star, Shaq, whatever. It's like everybody, all eyes on the slam dunk contest. I don't know if they can ever get that back because as spectacular as we see a dunk right now, I'm just so sick and tired of seeing guys going down the lane with potential to throw down a dunk and they go, oh, wait, someone's open on the three-point line. Let me kick it to you. Like, that's how much the game has changed. So even the appeal of dunking right now isn't for this generation, doesn't really excite them the same way. And those are the fans that they're trying to appeal to. So it's sad for me to say no.
We're talking history here, John. I'm taking Michael Jordan off the board. You're not allowed to pick him. Historically, right now, I say you have to go in a dunk contest. Who are you taking?
I mean, this one was tough. But, I mean, how could you not go with the greatest dunker of all time? And that's Vince Carter. You know, like, my second choice was Aaron Gordon, but my first choice was Vince Carter because I just rewatched that dunk contest, and that dude was just pulling everything out of everything. Like he was, and you know how you know what I've hated over the years for dunk contests too is the fact that they like, oh, we're gonna save our best dunks. He hit his best dunk every round, and every dunk he did, and it was just unreal. I mean, the guy could just fly off the court. I mean, I'll take Vince Carter all day.
You know what's sad? You know what's sad when you look at that actual dunk contest? Steve Franchise and Tracy McGrady would have won in any other year because they were fucking unbelievable as well.
Great dunk contest.
Yeah.
It was almost like the Aaron Gordon, Zach, and Levine where they went back and forth. That was unreal.
So speaking of that, my selection here would actually be Aaron Gordon. And the irony is Aaron Gordon never actually won a dunk contest, which is kind of crazy, right? The guy competes 3 times, never actually wins. And I'm saying I would take him because the guy, every dunk contest he showed up to. I mean, Zach LaVine showed up. There's no shade to him. A lot of people are split on this. Fine. I'm just saying what side you have to pick. But Aaron Gordon, I mean, some of the crazy creativity. So as much as you look at Vince Carter and you say, hey, this is great. Vince didn't use props. Zach used props. So did Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon was good with without the props, and that's what I like about him. But what ultimately to me set him apart for me, if you told me I got to pick anybody off the board, and my other one, which was tight, was Dominique Wilkins. Because Dominique, I do believe, beat Jordan in one of those ones that they gave it to Jordan because I do think that was the Nike money talking. Save that for a different day. But what takes it for me with Gordon is when they get to him and Levine, they had to keep going to overtime. Remember, these guys already used all their dunks. So he is on the fly making up dunks. It's just like, okay, I'm going to do this. We got guys who got weeks to think about this and can't execute. That guy on the fly is like, I think I'm just going to try this and goes and executes. And if I can do that and I say, oh, I'm going to give this guy time to think about it, man. So Aaron Gordon, for me, I just think it's a damn shame. It's unfortunate because we'll look at the history books. You'll go through and say, oh, look at this guy. Dominique Wilkins won. Vince Carter won. Michael Jordan won. Kobe Bryant won. And at no point will we say Aaron Gordon, we have to go out the way to explain to them how good of a dunker this guy was, yet he never won. You talk about, like, when we say Allen Iverson, we talk about Barkley, we talk about who is the best to never win a championship. In the dunk contest equivalency, it's Aaron Gordon, and he and dunk lure will always be a legend.
Well, to your point, Trey, is like if you think about it, like anytime we think about those dunk contests, we just think of Aaron Gordon. I remember those. I was like, God damn! And it like Zach LaVine, don't get me wrong, was going off too. Like that was a crazy dunk contest, 3 years in a row, and that's why I was so tough picking between Vince Carter and Aaron Gordon. I was like such back and forth between the two, but I went with the high flyer. I think if Vince competed in more dunk contests, I think he would have used props. Because he was just getting, but he was so
he probably would have. Yeah,
he was so high off the fucking ground, like his whole fucking chest was almost touching above the rim. It was just unreal how high he was getting. So I think if
his highlights of his missed dunks in North Carolina would win dunk contests.
Yeah. So Jay, who you got?
Bro, listen, honorable mention to Zach LaVine for actually attempting a 360 from the free throw line and actually making it in a dunk contest. The combination of the power and the explosiveness and the finishing touch and finesse makes him to me the most beautiful of all of them, right? Like the way he could get a piece of each thing you want to see in a dunk. But you know who I'm going with. It's the Rain Man, baby. Sean Kemp all the way down from Seattle, dunking on any mother trucker coming down the lane. I don't care if we never saw him in a slam dunk contest the way we wanted to see him. Sean Kemp is the highest, flyingest, most fly mother trucker on the planet when it came to dunking for me. That guy didn't care who was in his way. It didn't matter how high Gary Payton threw the ball. It didn't matter where that ball was going. It was coming down on Sean. It's coming down on you, and Sean Kemp's palm was catching that and funking it. Now, if we're sticking the dunk contest, it's Zach LaVine because of what I said. The combination of everything and his creativity, to me, was almost unmatched. The guy was Clyde Drexler and Dominique and Jordan combined in one, which is, you can't say that for much players. But in terms of my favorite player of all time, dunking-wise, I just had to throw that in there. Give me Sean Kemp. But dunk contest, it's the Zach man for me.
Mike, what about you?
So we've talked in the past. It comes up that, like, and you say this with normal people, is like, okay, you're above 6 feet tall and you're athletic, you should be able to dunk, right? Like you should conceivably be able to dunk the basketball, at least in some regard. But what if you're not above 6 feet? What if that's the case? In fact, What if you're barely above 5 feet tall?
Well, thanks, Mike. I appreciate
You have to
it.
give me.
Thank you.
You
I
have
Mike,
to
you pick
give me.
yourself.
Mike about to give himself props, bro.
I'm
Go
not
ahead.
just above 5 feet tall. I'm almost 6 feet tall. Thank you. No, I'm going with the 5'3" Spud Webb.
Oh shit! I need to think
Give
about
me
him.
Spud Webb, and well, ideally, if you can give me my perfect pick, yeah, I'm gonna go with who I think you thought I was gonna say, which is just give me Spud Webb and Nate Robinson in a trench coat.
Gotcha.
And I'll be on.
But no, I think it just yes, the super athletic dunks that all those guys. I think you guys make great picks. I thought about Vince because if you go with a traditional dunk contest competitor, I'd go Vince Carter because like that guy was and is insane. I still think he could pull some of them off.
Insanity.
he says he said during the jersey retirement that he couldn't, but you're lying, Vince, because I think you can still pull some of those dunks off. But it's just taking myself outside of it. The fact that Spud Webb could consistently dunk the basketball at 5'3" is incredible to me. It's incredibly impressive, and I think even if you put props in front of him, I'm pretty sure looking at his highlights, he could clear them easy. So yeah, give me a little love for the Spud man.
All right, guys, we're looping it one more time here. Who do you think we were cheated out of the most in terms of we never got to see this happen, specifically in their rookie year? LeBron or Zion Williams in a dunk contest?
LeBron. I don't need to see Zion.
Yeah, LeBron. I mean, I could have lived out either.
Zion's a power dunker. He's not a flash dunker. He's a.
He might hurt himself.
Zion would have been as great as everybody think.
I mean, we saw every dunk you saw Zion doing. It reminded me of Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin at Oklahoma just slamming the ball as hard as he could through the floor, putting dents in the floor, and then running down the court.
I just don't think Zion would have been that creative, to be honest.
That's actually a very good Blake Griffin and Zion Williamson running impression.
But thank you. But like LeBron, I feel like he was more athletic. This is gonna sound weird, but I feel like he was more athletic. Obviously, at 20 or 18 years old is his rookie year. He's more like nimble, more able to kind of do more things. And he was doing more things when he was dunking. You know, the stretch back dunk. He was doing a lot of more things than Zion would ever do. And my fear with Zion is he'd do one dunk and then he'd be out for 3 weeks and then have to continue.
Every tendon in his legs would explode.
Yeah, I feel LeBron would have definitely gone for the in between the leg free throw line like statue crazy. I think Zion would have gone a baseline 360, cock the ball behind his head, get his eyes above the rim. Power dunk we may have never seen for its time yet. So for me, it's like it's hard for me to pick both, but I think you guys are right in terms of the creativity is what counts when you have power versus power to kind of decide the winner.
Yeah.
Oh, Bubba doesn't think so at all. I love Zion.
I think Bubba picked LeBron. Remember when Zion was at Duke?
Disrespect.
Like this crazy powerhouse basketball conference. Well, doesn't look that way anymore. 4 of the top 5 teams are in the SEC right now in college basketball, including the Alabama teams, which are kind of crazy because they used to be football powerhouses. So, question for you, Mike: is the SEC now officially a basketball conference?
Well, no matter what you want to say out there, the last 2 football national champions are from the Big Ten, and you're putting, and someday when Notre Dame joins the Big Ten, it will be another, and so yeah, I mean, if you're looking at the lack of success, aside from Georgia and Bama, the lack of football success on a national stage that the SEC has had in football, and the fact that they are putting, like you said, 4 of the top 5 in 13 or 14 of their what are they at now? 18 teams in the top 25. Yeah, I think it's fair to classify them as a basketball conference now. Never thought I'd see the day. Say that. I never thought I'd see the day.
Apparently, Jay's burp agrees with you.
Oh, it does. That's what I've learned living with Jamie. Is when you
throw that in there.
His
ESPN
burp of
has
approval.
Dan Orlovsky shitting on camera. We have Jamie blowing kisses.
His burp of approval. I
I
now feel
could hit mute in time.
I feel seen. I feel seen because he burped while I was talking.
John, is the SEC now a basketball conference?
Is that comparatively to like are we going like SEC to what Mike was saying? Like is it SEC a football or basketball like school like conference? And is that what you were saying?
Is their main sport now? Would
Is
you
their
classify
main
their
sport,
main
like, is
sport
that
basketball?
Fuck no, bro. Fuck no. God no, it's not a basketball conference. They have one season over the last year where this has happened. I mean, it's like almost saying like was the Big East oh yeah, they were a basketball conference. No.
Basketball conference, definitely. Did a whole documentary about it.
But yes, yeah, no, it's not because football is king, right? Football, regardless of what you said about Alabama or Georgia, they generate way more money. They sell out crowds. They put people in the stands. I think there was 4 SEC teams in the college football playoff this year, 4 or 5, maybe 4, I think. But
Tennessee.
when it comes down to it, you have to look at the conference as a whole. I mean, the conference as a whole is still dominant. They still got Texas and Oklahoma coming in. A&M was pretty strong last year towards the end. South Carolina is on its way up. You got Alabama and Georgia, still dominant. And then you got Florida football coming back, hopefully, in a few years. It's a football dominant conference, and that's what runs the conference. Now, is SEC basketball conference amazing this year? Yeah, I mean they're just unreal. I mean, I felt like at one point 18 teams could get in there, but now I'm kind of going back to what Jay said in the beginning. Maybe 12. They'll break that Big East record because a lot of teams are just beating up on each other right now. But a team like Vanderbilt to compete with Kentucky and beat them at home, it's like, holy shit, we didn't see that. And they're competing at a very high level. So I think it's kudos to the SEC basketball conference, but I think it'll always be a football conference, never a basketball conference.
Mr. Kentucky Wildcat, Mr. SEC basketball, are your SEC now a basketball conference?
Yeah, I'm a prisoner of the moment right now, and I think what football has kind of shown us is that maybe the SEC dominance reign is over right now, and rightfully so, because how could the other programs and their boosters not be fucking sick of an SEC team pretty much boasting that one of us is going to win the Natty Championship? So who's playing? Kind of like Larry Bird, which one of y'all playing us for runner-up? Like one of us is going to win it. So I feel like every freaking booster outside of the SEC, and at the time it was Texas, was like, screw these a-holes. Like, we're going to do whatever it takes. And John's Michigan program proved that. Price is right. We don't care. 10, 12 mil, we'll throw it out there. Forget the SEC. So I feel everybody else is playing for keeps a lot more than the SEC now. And their time in football and that dominant run might be over. But it's just beginning in basketball because their time is right now. I mean, you got Buzz Williams, you got Nate Oates, you got John Calipari, you have Bruce Pearl, you have Rick Barnes. All right, Pope joins them right now in Kentucky. You got a cadre of coaches right now that are boasting probably like a class of just amazing coaches all together at one time to lift the SEC's level of play to the point where for the first time ever in conference history, the 1 and 2 are in the SEC and they'll be playing each other. So that says a lot about how far we've come. The predictions as of yesterday were 3 of the top 4 teams, Bama, Auburn, Florida, Duke, me, and the other round up. Right now, they're projected 1 seed. So their dominance is as high as it's ever been, with those coaches leading those programs for probably at least 3, 4, 5 years before we see some sort of coaching carousel, and barring none of them, get sick. I believe that it's only going to keep getting better, and they're going to keep attracting the biggest and best players to want to come play in the SEC right now. So this is the beginning of the SEC being a super dominant basketball conference, and the weaning down of once upon a time, the SEC is the conference to beat in football.
In their heart, the SEC will always be a football conference, and that's perfectly fine. That shit sell though. I'm just keeping it a buck with y'all. I know y'all get mad when I say it's SEC fans, but yeah, I hate to give them credit, but Michigan won a championship last year. Ohio State won a championship this year. Penn State damn near got to a championship. We may eventually watch Notre Dame appear as a Big Ten team. Oregon was the number 1 team in the country most of the damn year. And when it's all said and done, NIL's taking over. And the one thing the Big Ten got is a hell of a lot more NIL money than the SEC. So no offense to SEC country, but as time goes, that is going to become a basketball conference. The Big Ten will continue to flourish, maybe rotate a champ here and there, maybe Penn State goes and steals the championship along the way somewhere. Maybe somebody else, Oregon. Phil Knight said he's not stopping until he said he basically is going to keep spending money until he dies. And I'll be honest with you, whenever that day happens, I'm almost guaranteed somewhere his will be something to keep contributing crazy
That
money to
money
Oregon.
long, boy. That money long.
Yeah, that money's long. USC is going to keep spending money. So the SEC, no, that time I think is a sale. And I think they will slowly find their way into becoming the basketball conference. And that's perfectly fine because the Big Ten time is now. The SEC, you can definitely enjoy your number 1 versus 2 matchup really quick. We have a number 1 versus 2, Auburn versus Alabama. And this isn't the Iron Bowl, but happening Saturday. Just really quick. Score prediction, who do y'all got? John, I'll have you go first. Mike, Jay, me.
Yeah, I think it should be. Well, I think Alabama should have been the number 1 team in the country. Unfortunately, Auburn.
Yeah, we'll figure it out now.
But I think we'll figure that out on Saturday. I think Nate Oates has his guys ready. I think it's going to be Alabama 98, Auburn 95.
Like that.
And they've been scoring. Like SEC has been scoring at a very high rate this year, so it's been pretty impressive. Mike.
Yeah, so I agree. I think Alabama should be number 1 right now, but it is good we get to decide that on Saturday, and this is going to be a great game. I think both squads are ready and are probably both going to be 1 seeds when it comes to the tournament time. I've got the Auburn Tigers winning 89-87.
Jay.
I like that, Mikey. I like that you're going with the road warrior there. One coming in, but Nate Oates and his team are not going to let this opportunity pass them by at all. This is a dominant team at home. They've scored a ton of points. I believe they are the highest scoring team in the nation right now. At the time when they played Kentucky, they were 1. Kentucky was 2. And look, Auburn at this point is like, we're playing with house money. Everybody's saying you're supposed to be the number 1, right? You're at home. So I feel Auburn probably plays a little more relaxed, which is weird to say the number 1 team is going to be more relaxed than the 2. But I feel like Nate Oates knows that this is the statement game that gets them that 1 seed. I think Auburn already feels like they're the 1 seed unless they have a monumental collapse. But Nate knows that this locks it up, and his team knows that. So I'm taking Alabama to win this game 94-90.
We'll keep it simple here. Auburn's going to win. A lot of people say Alabama deserves to be 1, and that's why Auburn's going to bring it because now you put a chip on their shoulder. Auburn 82, Alabama 77.
Defense.
A little more defense, a little more nerves. I think that's how it's going to go. But everybody's favorite time of the day. Shout out to the Kansas City Chiefs. You got stumped. Now it's time for me to come out here and stump you motherfuckers. Just like John's Eagles did the Chiefs a few days ago. So everybody's favorite time of the day. Stump.
Yeah, boys and girls, ghouls and goblins, you know what time it is. It's time for Stump the Squad. And if you have joined us at this point in the show, thank you for listening and tuning in. Go ahead and like and subscribe and comment and play along with us. Here's how you can beat us. If you get more points than any squad member, you win. And let us know. +2 if you get it right, -2 if you get it wrong. We each ask each other a trivia question, multiple choice. The person with the most points wins this week. I do believe that I am due a win. I'm not pissed off at losing. So I'm going to take it up to Trey because I wanted to start at 0 and stay at negative points for the rest of this round.
Yeah, disrespectful. Okay. The Super Bowl's a blowout. It's NBA season. We're going to continue to talk about blowouts. What is the biggest margin of victory in the NBA Finals game? 37 points, 42 points, 48 points, 53 points.
42.
Mike's going 42.
Can you say them again, please?
37 points, 42 points, 48 points, 53 points.
53. Sorry. I don't know why I said 43.
Man, I'm trying to remember. Was it Cleveland that beat Toronto? And was it by 50? I'm going to go at 48 reluctantly here. I know it's more than 42. So, and I know it's not 37. So I'll go at 48.
Okay, so we have Jay with 48, Mike with 42, and John with 53. Today, I have successfully stumped Grandpa Jay and John.
Damn it.
Yes.
It is 42 points.
Oh, and I'll give a score update of how things are going right now. So this week, Grandpa Jay, and I believe this is updated, but Grandpa Jay with 6, me and Trey with 5, and Mike with 3. So Mike, I think, is eliminated at this point. And Trey, me and you have to win, or Grandpa Jay wins Stump the Squad.
Oh yeah,
I win because we start next week, right? So
yeah.
So just everyone knows.
God damn Super Bowl live.
Oh, and other shows too. I mean,
let's cool Jay off. With that said, I want Jay to stay cool. Jay.
And the Pistons won my 40 last night, didn't they? So, all right. Let's take it to hardwood here for a little bit. Which one of these all-time greats scored the least amount of points as a rookie in the NBA All-Star game? Was it A, Jerry West, B, Shaquille O'Neal, C, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, or D, Isaiah Thomas?
Can you say the question again, please?
Okay, one more time, and look at me so you're not focusing on something else, please.
Write the scores down, pussy.
Which one of these all-time greats scored the least amount of points as a rookie in the NBA All-Star game? Was it A, Jerry West, B, Shaq, C, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, or D, Isaiah Thomas?
Kareem.
I was gonna say, I think it's Kareem.
John?
I said Kareem.
He said Kareem.
So all of you are going with Kareem today.
Kareemin'.
Gentlemen, I have successfully stumped the squad. Give me some money. The correct answer is Jerry West, who is the only one out of that group in single points.
I'm not going to lie
single
to you.
digits.
Anything NBA, I just go when Trey answers. I just
copy. The secrets are revealed.
Yeah, I thought you guys would have got that because without the shot clock and the game being slowed down, I thought that would have been an easy one for you guys. With Jerry West being the only real old school out of that group.
Nah, so I thought it would be like one of those questions. It was like, oh, it's the exact opposite of what you think it is.
Yeah,
Kareem held the scoring record. So
history.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, Mikey, throwing it to you, buddy.
Okay, so we're going to stay on the hardwood, but we're going to take it to the college ranks. So obviously, UConn has struggled this year to stay in the top 25. So tell me, in which of the following seasons did UConn enter the year ranked, but then after week 1 never returned to the poll? 2014-15, 15-16, 16-17, or 17-18?
14-15.
Yeah, I think that's
14-15.
Yeah, 14-15, because that's when they won the national title the year before.
They beat fucking Kentucky as an 8 seed.
14-15. Well, this week.
Kemba.
He's so happy. Go ahead, Mikey. Do your dance.
I have successfully stumped
nobody.
The squad.
15-16.
16-17. They were 18 entering the season, and I did not look at what they did week 1, but never returned to the poll that whole year.
Damn it. All right, so the scores read pretty bad today. I'm eliminated. Mike at 0. I'm at Jamie's at -4 and Trey at -4. So it comes down to this between Jamie and Trey. Oh boy. And you guys are probably gonna get this most likely. Who holds the most points ever scored in an All-Star game? I know Trey knows the answer. LeBron, Jason Tatum, Dame Lillard, or Kobe Bryant?
The most points ever scored in an All-Star game?
Mm-hmm.
A single All-Star game?
Yeah.
Or like of all time combined?
No, single.
Oh, I was like, what do you mean by single? But yeah, just one game. The one.
None.
Game.
What?
None. It's Cat.
I thought he just broke.
Cat's the only one to ever score 50 in an All-Star game. So that question's void.
No, it's not.
Wait, no,
Okay.
he's not.
No, it's not.
It's been a more.
Pick an answer, motherfucker.
What were our choices again?
LeBron, Jason Tatum, Damian Lillard, or Kobe Bryant?
Dame Lillard.
Okay. Mike?
Tatum.
Well, I'm already. I mean, I want to win this week, but I'm already eliminated, so fuck it. Kobe.
Today I have successfully stumped Kobe and Mr. Cat down there. It is Jason Tatum with
It's
55
Tatum.
last year.
Because he was happy because he broke it. He was happy to get the Kobe Bryant award because he looked at the Kobe. I remember that being.
See, still
Held
Kobe.
it.
Half a point.
So you and your
Yeah.
void lost this week, and the tie it goes to a tie for week 150. With
I just wanted to keep it
Jamie at
interesting
6,
for you fans out
Jamie
there.
Oh,
at
yeah.
6,
Okay.
Mike at 3 and me at 5. Mike and I are eliminated, and it comes down to episode 150 between those two.
You know I come through in the
Jamie's gonna
clutch
put his
straight.
money where
I
his
hope you
mouth
enjoyed
is,
your
or he's
dub
gonna
this
be
week.
Mr. Is he going to be Mr. Oh, no, it's not. That question is void. He likes a good void of the day.
Former
Congrats,
friend.
Trey. Mr. Know-It-All.
Well, I have one
take that.
twice in a row.
I'll
So
take
we
that.
going for the heat like Dame Lillard this weekend.
I'll be taking that. I'll be taking that crown next week, fellas. As usual,
I'm not going to win
another good
shit.
show. Now we're in our transition
Yeah,
phase.
2025.
We're in our transition phase. We're moving on from football. We're moving on to a lot more NBA content, a lot more NHL content, a lot more basketball. We're going to start talking some women's basketball, some men's college basketball, a little bit of everything coming up. So make sure everybody definitely locks in with us. Same time, same place. NFL draft is going to be here before you know it. Of course, we'll do a live show as we've done the last few years for that. So definitely make sure y'all lock in with us. As usual, make sure y'all follow all of our posts. Cinco Squad Pod 05 are our socials. We do talk back, as I say, every week. So definitely make sure y'all definitely engage with us. But as usual, Cinco Squad out.